For the last 2 years I was playtesting Factorio Space Age DLC, and so far I have more than 400 hours in it, and I've beat the game 4 times in total. 2 times on 2 different multiplayers LAN parties and 2 times on a single player game. So now I will tell you how the Space Age DLC looks like, what is my experience and how it works behind the scenes, how the DLC was made and all of that. So first important note, even so I had access to Space Age for a very long time and I was helping build it, I do not work for Wube software, okay? I do not work for them. I was just helping a little bit with playtesting, bug fighting and with the event. So in this video I will tell you my perspective of what do I think about the DLC, what I think about different mechanics, new planets and all of that, but also I will tell you what other players think about it, because during the LAN party I spent a lot of time just walking around and asking people, hey, what do you think about this planet, what do you think about this mechanic? So my perspective will be from a lot of people point of view. At the end I will answer some of the questions from the comment section, and for now just what do I think about the game? So I have access to Factorio Space Age DLC for a very long time, and I saw how it looked 2 years ago when everything was basically a placeholder and it was just a grey square with text on it saying what the building is. Also the game balance was, there was no game balance. However, over the years Factorio DLC got a lot of upgrades, changes, bug fixes and all of that. So I'll just tell you how the game feels now. And I'll start from Nauvis. We are provided with some background footage, b-roll stuff. However, when it comes to Nauvis, there's nothing new. I mean, the science tree is a little bit different, but basically it's just simplified Nauvis. I was asking developers to add something new to Nauvis to make it more engaging and more fun, but no, they just wanted to keep it simple, and it is simple. However, there's a lot of new quality of life changes to the game, like new circuits, new map view, which is awesome, a lot of changes to blueprint, especially the force build blueprint is awesome, but beside this, Nauvis is just Nauvis. However, the technology of some advanced stuff like cliff explosives, better modules, stack inserters, artillery and some other stuff are locked behind new planets. So if you play only on Nauvis with the DLC, you cannot access this technology early. You have to go to new planet and then you can get it. But yeah, this is all for Nauvis. So now let's talk about Vulcanus. In my opinion, this is the second best planet after the Fulgora. But I talked with a lot of people and they say Vulcanus is like the most broken planet, because you are just printing the resources from the magma. Also the amount of productivity you get on foundries is huge. You just have way more resources than you can use. The unique mechanic on Vulcanus is the fact that you have to deal with liquids basically a lot. You have to make a nice refinery, you are mining a fluid resources, you are dealing with fluid iron and fluid copper. When it comes to technologies you can unlock on Vulcanus, I cannot tell you this stuff because it's under the NDA, but you are getting access to new buildings which produce you, you basically can use them to print resources. You can also take those new buildings to Nauvis or to other planets and also print the resources there. When it comes to uniqueness of playstyle, like I said before, you are dealing with a lot of liquids and there is new liquid system, so it's fun, but I think Fulgora is more fun planet. And talking about Fulgora, in my opinion, Fulgora is like the most fun to play planet and also in my opinion the most broken one. Because after I got to Fulgora, I felt like inflation hit my base. Because on Fulgora, you can make the blue circuits and low density structures for scrap. You're basically mining scrap and you are turning those into blue circuits. You have blue circuits and load this structure for free. I mean, you have to make a setup, you have to filter all of the resources and do a lot of spaghetti, especially with circuits. I personally recommend using bots to deal with all of the spaghetti mess. Also, there is an interesting mechanic with production of electricity, and this was my favorite planet because the approach for Factorio was completely different. Instead of going from zero to hero with resources, from making rough resources, from smelting them and all of that, you're going from top to bottom. You're getting the blue circuits and you have to break them down with recyclers to lower tiers. Then you have to take like red circuits and then break them down to green circuits, and green circuits to copper wires, and copper wires to just copper if you want to use copper. This switch in mechanic to going from top to bottom was perfect. I just love that, and I think it's the best planet from the whole expansion. Also, on this planet, it's the easiest to make a rocket parts, because you get low density structures and blue circuits for maybe not for free, but kind of for free, and making rocket fuel, it's very simple. So I was using Fulgora as a resupply planet to my spaceships. Like if I wanted to put some resources on Gleba, I was just docking my ship on Fulgora, taking all of the important stuff and flying to Gleba, because Gleba sucks. But yeah, I just recommend you Fulgora. And the planet I do not recommend you is Gleba. Hey guys, editing Trupen here. So I was doing some editing for the Gleba, but there is a problem with it, because this is literally the only footage we have for the Gleba. This is one base, second base, and just dude mining some iron Gleba. Like, for example, look at Fulgora, 11 shots, Vulcanus, 12 shots, Nauvis, 5 shots, Space, 11. I guess. But on Gleba, only 3. And one of those shots is guy hand mining iron. Because this is your experience on Gleba. Out of all the teams, only 2 teams built some nice base on the Gleba. Because everybody who was sent to Gleba was hand mining stuff and they have pain. But enough of that. I just want to tell you that the background footage might be pretty limited, because these 2 videos is the only thing I have. So I'm sorry for that. Gleba is the worst planet. Also, the people I talked with didn't enjoy this planet, because it's extremely hard to find any resources on it. And if you find any resources, they are very, very small. They are rich, like you have 10 tiles of iron, which is few millions resources in it, but what you gonna do with few tiles of iron? You can place few miners and that's all. It's not enough to produce anything important. Also, it's very, very hard to find any plants of this planet, and the whole point of this planet is to farm plants, and if you cannot find them, you screw. You're just messing around, running and looking for the plants if you want to just start on Fulgora. But the mechanic of spoilage, it's unique. I'm not gonna lie, I like it and it's interesting. You have to deal with spoilage, you have to deal with freshness, because if you are using not fresh ingredient to make science packs, then you are making like half fresh science packs. So you have even less time to use those into the labs. So it's an interesting challenge, but compared to Vulcanus, where you basically print rough resources, and compared to Fulgora, where you basically print high tier resources, on Gleba, you don't have it. Gleba is the hardest planet to start with, and you are not getting any good benefits from it. The research, which is blocked behind the Gleba, is also not the best in my opinion. I cannot tell you what is locked behind Gleba, but I was hoping for something better. When it comes to fun, it is fun when you are ready for it. So if you was already on Gleba, if you was already on Vulcanus and on Fulgora, and you have the research tree very high, and you can afford to bring a lot of resources to Gleba, like roboports, assemblers, inserters and all of that crap here, so you don't need to deal with starting from scratch, then Gleba is fine to play. But if you are choosing it by your first planet, good luck. And the last planet. I cannot tell you much about it, because all of that is under the NDA, but when it comes to playing on it, it's great. It has some unique mechanics which are very fun to play, but it's also similar to Gleba when it comes to technology. If you're not gonna bring enough resources, and if you are not prepared to conquer the last planet, you will not have a lot of fun. When I was playing Space Age for the first time, I brought some resources, but then I realized that it's not enough, and I haven't brought the core resources, and my spaceship, which I get to the last planet, got destroyed. So I was stranded on the last planet and I cannot do much. So I started writing help text out of the stone bricks, and the funny thing, me writing the help text got implemented into the background screen during the many animations. So when you get access to Factorio DLC, you can see me writing help in the background when you are in the main menu. So it's a nice touch from me playing the game. But beside the planets, you also have the space. There are basically two space platforms you are building. First one is the platform to make the science packs. I'm not a big fan of this mechanic because right now you are building some ugly square spaceship which is producing the science packs, and that's all. Also, you building it like few hours into the game and you're using it for like next 100 hours because the recipe for science packs in space is so cheap, but there is a high chance it got some rework, so we'll see. The other spaceships are like normal spaceships, so you have to build a asteroids collector, you have to transfer those into useful materials, make fuel, and yeah, just fly from planet to planet. The intended way of doing this spaceship is to make factory on a spaceship, make assembling machines, chemical plants, and just build the factory on a spaceship. However, this is the intended way the developers want you to go with, and there is the way that a lot of players going with. So basically, a lot of players just import the items from a planet to a spaceship and then fly this spaceship to another planet. So instead of making bullets on a spaceship, a lot of players just import the bullets from the planet and go through the space without production, besides making the fuel. I don't know how viable this mechanic will be of importing the items to your spaceship, because developers hate it and they are trying to nerf it, yeah, every single patch, but we'll see. Also, the funny thing with the spaceships is the fact that one shape is the most popular one. Everybody want to make a long, slim core of the spaceship because it's gonna hit less meteorites. And I think it's funny that this is the most popular design. I mean, one of the most popular design. Because the basic square was also very popular. Yeah, like for example this. Just a mess with sushi belts and all of that. Talking about sushi belts, the mechanic of reading the whole belt allows you to simplify the process of building the spaceship by a lot. Which is good, because overall it's not easy to make a spaceship, because you constantly have to deal with too much of this asteroid, too much of iron, too much of that, and not enough of different resources. So you have to throw away some of the stuff to produce more of different stuff. All of this is under the NDA, so I cannot go into more details. However, now I can go into more details with different mechanics and not just with the planets. The first mechanic I want to talk about is quality. Some people don't like the idea of random crafting in Factorio, but in my opinion, quality is great because it adds a lot of new tiers of items, but without introducing new complicated recipes. Just using the same recipe, but with a different quality. So it's simple at its core, but it's very hard to master. Also, this mechanic adds like few hundreds extra hours to the DLC if you want to like master everything. But if you don't want to use the quality, you're still fine. So for me, this feature is rock. Next feature are elevated rails. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of them. Like, I wasn't using them a lot. The only reason I researched them and use those because some planets literally require you to use those. But beside that, on Nauvis, I was just using normal rail because normal rails work great. And if you have any bottlenecks, if your junction are wrong, elevated rails not gonna fix that because you are the problem, you are the skill issue in your factory. However, some people like to use those. If you are building a huge, very late game mega bases, then there is use for those. But if you are just playing Factorio, they are bleh. But that's my opinion. I might have negative opinion about elevated rails, but the new logic, the normal trains, this is awesome. This is a game changer because you can make a whole train group and change the destination to every single train in the group from one place. You can also set interruption for any item, so your train can adapt to your base and choose the train station on their own. Also, they can refuel on their own, and overall the logic is way better. It's also easier to, for example, do this. Yeah, build train, just automatic go to their destination. Isn't it cool? Train priority, you can set the priority. There is more icons for the trains, so you know why they are not working, and there is no just no path. And yeah, overall, new trains are a little bit more complicated than they used to be, so that might be tough, but the amount of stuff you can do with them, yeah, it's way better, and also they can change the colors. So it's a huge change, which I love. Okay, I think that's enough of my thoughts. So now let's see what are your questions. I made this post in which you can ask me anything. So let's see what you asked me. The first comment, why when I invite this girl, she ran bionic, well, what the fuck is this? So the first question is, how did you get this job? So I don't have the job, I do not work for Wube software. How long does it take to beat the space age? The estimate of 60 to 100 hours is accurate. What is your favorite planet and what do you think is the best order to go to? I think Fulgora is the best planet. The worst planet is of course Gleba, but when it comes to which planet you should go first, maybe Vulcanus is number one. There was a lot of changes to Vulcanus over the years and it got some buffs, so I think right now Vulcanus might be top one planet to go to, then Fulgora, Gleba, because you have to, and the last planet because it's the last planet. Pentapod eggs are needed to craft biochambers on Gleba. How will the planet react to enemies being turned off? So yes, that's a problem, and the current solution is you cannot turn off the enemies. On starting a new game, will you be able to select resource, frequency, size, richness for all planets simultaneously? What is this word? For all planets at the same time or each planet individually. So the current solution to world generation is pretty junky because you're using just one settings for every single planet. So for example, to generate Vulcanus, you still have the settings for Gleba, for Nauvis and all of that. So right now it's not possible to change richness for each planet, but I guess it will change soon. We'll see. How does the scrap mining loop in Fulgora change as you scale the factory? So scrap on Fulgora is the only resource you can get. So when you scale your factory, you also scale your scrap mining facilities to get more items. This is just how the Fulgora works. How viable is the Vulcanus lava resource gathering process on other planets? So Vulcanus gives you access to foundries, and you can use foundries on other planets. And there are recipes for foundries which you can use on other planets. So even so there is no lava on other planets, there is still some recipes that you can use and they are pretty good. Are there new tiered systems for resource gathering where you get more efficient as you unlock better technology? So yes, when it comes to building a spaceships, you are researching a better recipes to do on your spaceship. So the better technology you have, the better recipes you can use. But I cannot tell you more because it's under the NDA. Who was the most handsome person at the LAN party? I'm sorry Dosh, but it wasn't you. I think the most handsome person at the LAN party was Sanki, one of the developers, but not in his normal form, in form of a dragon. Yeah, Sanki as a dragon was hot. What percentage of changes have been shared in the Factorio Friday Facts? So there is still like 20, maybe 30% of new content, but you're not gonna see it in the Factorio Friday Facts because it meant to be like the late game thing that you have to explore on your own. How much of a pain has it been to move back and forth between planets when you realize you forgot to bring or fix something, or when something breaks? So with new map view, there is no pain with that, because when you have like a working factories on every single planet, just work from the map view, and at some point you don't even know where is your engineer because the map view is so good right now. Does the DLC feel like Factorio itself or a mod? So 2 years ago it felt like a mod they are charging $35 for, but right now it's an expansion to Factorio. Every mechanic is well integrated with core of Factorio and just everything works together great. So yeah, right now it feels great. Here are a few questions I cannot answer because of the NDA, but I can answer this one. How annoying are cliffs with the new terrain generation? So the new cliffs are not annoying at all. On my second playthrough, you. Okay, so I did 2 playthroughs alone in my house. So the first one was with the old cliffs, and the cliffs was so annoying that I was considering quitting playing the expansion, and I was just on Nauvis. But yeah, I beat the game. So on the second try, when I got access to new cliffs, new terrain generation was implemented, then I didn't research the cliff explosives for the whole game, because the cliffs right now are not annoying at all. Zilius, Dosh Doshington, collab. I've talked with Dosh, he's a cool dude, but when it comes to a collaboration, I don't think there is any good video idea we can do together. If you have any idea, yeah, just write it in the comments. Also, I asked Dosh about Gleba, and he also hates Gleba. This is his least favorite planet. So it's not only me, there are also other people that hate Gleba. Did you met some of the other YouTubers? Yes I did. I met Mojo, Terminator, Nilaus, Catherine of Sky, Dosh, Colonel Will, and probably some other people I should remember, but right now I forgot. I'm sorry. What did Václav did to nerf you? So I was abusing a bug. He was able to basically skip the whole late game because of how fast the ship was rebuilding the walls. So I basically built a hammer ship. The front of the ship was just full of the walls, and I was just going through the asteroids, and any asteroid that hit my ship destroyed just a few walls, but the walls was basically instantly rebuilt. So I was able to fly my ships without using any gun turrets, any rocket launchers, anything, just walls. And he nerfed that. Now it doesn't work. Where are the hosts? Okay, that's enough of questions for today. If you want to get your question answered, just become a channel member. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye!